guys, welcome to the discussion portion of the playthrough for the Bloodborne, the card game. If you guys are wondering how to play the game, just click on the eye up above and it'll take you to the video and you'll see Dr. J's lovely face as he explains to you how to play this card game. But guys, welcome. We have the KO King, the Global Guru, and Kenpool. How are you guys doing tonight?
What's up?
Great.
I'm excited to talk about this because this is Sunshines and Rainbows, which is Russ's favorite type of game to play. So we're talking about the Bloodborne card game by some guy named Eric Lang. You guys ever?
It's another great game, but I don't know.
But so this is, I don't know the best way how to describe this, like hand management.
Yeah, it's like a hand. The first time I played it, I was like, "Hey, it's like a deck builder, but you only have the one hand of cards."
So didn't someone say it's a hand builder last time?
Yeah,
You're just
a hand
building your
builder.
one hand of cards.
Semi-co-op.
Semi-co-op, semi-stab everybody in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all about stab
super
everybody in the
mean.
But yeah,
I'd definitely be in the good mood for this game, or you're gonna end up with a lot of salty players.
Yeah,
so here's
it can
my
get
question.
really salty.
How would you rate this compared to The Godfather in terms of stabbiness against each other?
I think it depends on who you play with. I mean, you could go through the game and people could be hesitant and not do a lot of those things because it's your choice if you play those cards. But someone could be really...
stabby. I think it's
more
stabby.
than Godfather, but not as bad as some I've played.
I don't know.
Having
I've
only played The Godfather once, I would say The Godfather, I would say they're similar levels, but with this, it's more of shotgun blast. Like there's a lot of effects that it's harder to target someone, but they affect more people and they come out more often. Whereas with The Godfather, when you stab someone in the back, it's because you walked right up behind that exact person. You buried a blade in their back.
Yeah.
I feel like The Godfather, it's a little bit more built
just
in. Like it's more like more natural to the game flow. Where this, you kind of have that choice, right?
It feels natural with this one too. It's not as direct. It's a lot more indirect confrontation.
But timing of the backstabbiness in this game can be just so
It can be
crucial,
super
'cause
impactful.
You can have tons of blood echoes, and you just need to live one, and then somebody just does like a cannon and hits everybody.
I would absolutely say that like the backstabby elements in this game are more harsh.
Yeah.
Like
It'll affect your gameplay and can cause people
when you
to
get hurt,
win or
it
lose
hurts.
based on it.
Yeah. So would like timing is probably like the key point of this game,
It's
right?
the whole game.
Being able to time it right. Like that's why it's super important. And I think Jared did a great job of telling us each of the turn orders too, because like just between each of those turn orders, it could totally change somebody's game plan, right?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, timing in this game is huge.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's see, other than it being just quiet forest animals that are playing along, what do you guys like about the game?
I didn't like some of the luck elements. Like if I get...
Of course, the guy who's missing consistency over
There's
there.
a lot of luck.
So I think there is, because if you get, especially when you're playing with the expansion with scenarios and things like the runes where you have an ability, it's like it kind of guides you in a path. It's like, oh, with this I need to play more ranged.
Like with
that's
corruption.
And if you get no ranged out there, like last game, I'm like, it really hurts me.
The market being random and the unless you
And the
just
monsters
pick out
being
your
random.
runes. Well, the monsters being random, that's just part of the game. Like that's
But it's a luck element where if something comes out and it's gonna kill you and it messes up your timing, it could really hurt the whole game for you.
You could create the dungeon, the monsters, the way you want.
Yeah, you could stack
The
them.
only thing that necessarily is random is the market.
and the die rolls.
Yeah, the die rolls. That's true.
No,
but
we know when I play,
But
no
a lot
matter what, we're gonna get the one.
get
But
all-
there's
you
certain
get all
a
the
lot
cards.
of what you play might seem random, but it's based on what everybody's playing. So it's not necessarily like random like a die roll. I mean, you do have the die roll, but some of it is just bad timing. Like you play and somebody else plays their whatever and triggers wrong. I mean, I feel like you have a lot of
the inverse
control.
as well, where if you really combo it and time it correctly, like is that card that's broken out here? The one where
It's not broken.
there's some things where if you get certain cards and you have certain abilities, they can be more powerful.
Okay, so-
and that's luck of the draw. If you happen to get those things and you're able to buy those things,
Okay, so there
they
was
can
a
be
card
really
that Jared
powerful.
said was broken.
And
then
and
he
it's not
bought it, and
necessarily-
he got rid of it right away.
because of the brokenness
No,
of it.
because it wasn't broken. It didn't work with his hand. So
But it was still good, and he won.
no, he didn't.
Did you win?
I can't remember.
I think you.
I'd have to check.
I'm pretty
my
sure Jared won. Remember, he had that one paper card that's broken. Fire paper.
It's not broken though.
It can be if
No.
you time it.
No,
and
that's
do
one of
the-
my favorite
Okay,
cards to play.
So everybody said that this was broken, but Jared spent his whole game setting this up.
timing.
So yeah, so for,
That's setting up. He had no point, so he easily could have just not had anything at the end of the game. He set it up. That's not
Yeah.
luck. That's playing the game.
yeah, and
So, then if you can just play the game and you get that, then it's broken and it's not luck.
It's not broken.
yeah, I don't think it's broken. So for people at home who
What's your
aren't familiar
definition
with
of
it,
broken?
It wins you the game if you play that strategy, right?
That's not broken.
That's why I'm saying.
that's strategy.
But what I'm saying is
That's
it's broken if the things line up. That's the luck part of it. Is just as much as if I get an ability and get no, if I get a ranged ability and get no ranged, then that's bad luck. But if I get this really good one and get that combo,
Your
it can
definition
make
of
it
mine
really
of
good.
luck is like
yeah,
really skewed.
so for everybody at home who's wondering what we're talking about, so we're talking about the fire paper card. It has X for its blood token amount, and X equals the combined damage of all your used ranged weapons. So the way this is supposed to work is for it to be the most effective is one, you get a handful of all ranged weapons, which are the blue looking cards, and then you use all of them. Hopefully you survived after using all of them. Then you use the fire paper, and
It's
that's
this one.
gonna
It's bolt
do a big
paper.
blast.
But fire paper is
This is the
melee
one I think he had.
and bolt paper
Yeah.
is
I
ranged.
think it was. I think it was bolt paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they
either
both
way,
do the same
idea.
thing.
They're
One's
different
for
weapons.
ranged, and one's
one's for range, one's
Yeah.
for melee.
I think. I think there's more melee. Is there more melee?
I think it's an equal amount.
It's pretty even.
Yeah.
There's a
Don't you get
there's a
two
lot of
melee in
each
your
of them.
starting hand and only one?
Yes,
And only
in
one
your,
range.
in your starting hand.
Yeah, in your starting hand, but
Yeah.
in the market, I think.
Yeah, but in the
it's pretty
starting
balanced.
hand, if you're going to stick with your starting hand melee weapons, you're only going to get like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's three
blood
total.
echoes.
It's three total for just the starting ones.
I'm just saying that he said
The one
what
he said
I
was
didn't
broken was
there's
Beast
a little
Claw.
bit of variability with the market, and it can make it a little bit lucky or not, depending on
What
what you
card
can
game
buy.
doesn't do that? There's a variability in every market.
Yeah, I'm not
And
saying it's a.
You can churn through. I just don't think it's luck. I think it's it seemed broken, but you saw him setting it up for a long time.
Yeah.
And he kind of bit
Yeah.
that strategy, and had he not been able to kill the monster, he gets nothing.
Yeah, and if everybody else is paying attention to what you buy, because you're eventually gonna have to buy this. This is not a starting card. Everybody else could just start hate buying the ranged weapons.
Beast
it's
Claw
just
was
more-
the one that he said was broken when I was playing it. He was
Yeah,
being all
that's another
salty.
broken card.
It's not broken.
I was
He added
just
it to
mad.
his deck, and then was all of a sudden like, oh, that card's actually not very
Well,
good.
what was the broken card that I had that was really good? I didn't get one because I wasn't very lucky.
So I would say this is
As you can see, this game promotes.
No,
Well,
there's a lot of fun combinations, and the more you play, like I think it's better with people that know how to play the game because they know what everything does.
Yeah,
and
this
so
is-
they know. Oh, he bought that.
this
He's
is-
going for this.
yeah,
he
this
bought
is-
that. He's
yeah,
going
there's
for
a
that.
lot of
And you
grandiose things that
you can
happen.
then target those people and kind of balance.
Yeah,
it
this
that
is
way.
definitely one of those games that you want to play more than once. Because I know some people will play a game once and be like, this one's not for me.
I remember the first time we played, it was, I want to say it was right after the expansion was announced, but it hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, we
And
didn't even know about
It
it.
sat on my shelf
we
for a long
played it.
time.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, we
let's bring
played
this
the
out.
game and we were like, afterwards, all of us were like, hey, that was a really good game. It needs an expansion. We need more weapons, more monsters. And then the expansion came out with a bunch more weapons, more monsters, the
great
death
price
tokens, the starting powers with the runes. And it was like, oh, wow, they did everything we wanted them to and then some. That's perfect.
So you don't have to play with the expansion, but it's highly
You
recommended.
really
because
should.
it
I mean,
takes the game to a higher, more fun level.
yeah, if you're just buying it, I mean, play a game or two with just the core set without the expansion, but know that the biggest things that the expansion does is it penalizes death more, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, which is a
'cause
big thing, 'cause-
You'll die. You
Yeah.
will die throughout the game.
I remember when we first played it, since they didn't have those death tokens because we were playing with the base set, I remember that I was a lot more risky, and that's what ended up winning me the game
Yeah.
because I had most of my tokens up to 8 points.
Yeah,
where
if
the
you
rest of them
can,
were like 3
if
or
you can
4.
get all the trophies, you can make up for lack of blood echoes. Where with the expansion, if you're losing your blood echoes, you're also losing the ability to get trophies because you're dying, and it hurts a lot more. It also added I like the runes. They're really cool. They make it kind of asymmetric. Having your starting player power gives you. It can give you kind of a starting strategy,
Yeah,
a
and I
direction
like
to
the
go in,
variety of
especially
runes they give you
ability.
too, so,
yeah, there's a whole bunch of
like-
them. I mean, there's a lot, especially when you combine the two, which we've got the two combined on the table. There's a lot of content. There's a lot of variability.
Well, there's
a lot of beautiful art from the video
if you
game.
Look at just the final bosses, right? Each one of those is basically how a game will play, and we haven't even made it through. And there's
Each of the
lot
final
there.
bosses has different effects that impact the whole game. Like
And
Vicar
not all of them
Amelia.
are bad too, right?
Well, yeah, like, I mean, Vicar Amelia Hunter's maximum health is 6.
That one is
that one's
so
kind of rough.
brutal.
So it's such different gameplay every time you play
Yeah,
it. It's
or
been a totally different game.
Another one, Mikolash, Host of the Nightmare. Whenever a monster escapes, add one random non-boss monster from the box to the top of the Chalice dungeon deck. So that can really draw out a game. I mean, I'm not going to read through all of them, but that gives you an idea of the kind of things that the final bosses add to the entire game all throughout it as another element of like just variability and replayability too.
So
Yeah. And kind of speaking of like the theme and stuff too, weren't you the one who like played the board game and then started playing the video game because you're curious about
So I played the card game, and I want to say shortly after that, the video game was on like PlayStation Plus for free. So I downloaded it and I was like, I'll check it out. I've tried like one or two of the Dark Souls games, and it's the same people that make the video games.
And if you guys don't know,
Not the same people who make the board games.
Yeah, if you guys don't
but-
know, the whole idea of like the Dark Souls Bloodborne genre is to make it as insanely hard.
It's
as
super
possible.
hard, and I've tried a couple, like one or two of the Dark Souls games, and it didn't really grab me. So Bloodborne became a free thing. I had played this card game, and I was like, sure, I'll try it out. It seems kind of neat. Played it for like an hour, and I was like, hey, that's really hard, and I think I'm done. And then one of the guys that I work with got really into it at the same time. And he was like, dude, you got to play this. And I was like, you got to play this card game. And we kind of were bouncing back and forth, and I talked him into buying the card game, and he talked me into getting into the video game more. And I have since gotten like 150 hours into the video game. And so now, like, as we're playing, I'm looking at the different monsters and stuff, and I'm going, I remember that boss. I remember these guys in an area. There's a whole nest of these creatures, and it's a total pain. And it really adds like I don't know, almost like a nostalgic / extra grudgy element to playing the card game, having my familiarity with the video game, and also all the weapons. Everything that's in this card game is in the video game, which is just really cool.
So you would recommend this? Like if your friends or family members are fans of the Bloodborne video game, like it's definitely has
it's
all the
such
flavor hits, right?
it's such a different experience. If you're a fan of Bloodborne, the video game, and you really like the theme and the lore and the monsters and all of that, and you like semi-cooperative kind of backstabby card games, or even if you like the video game and you like deck builders, because that was the first thing that I thought with this was it's like a deck builder.
Because all of us don't own enough deck builders.
And I like deck builders, so I was like, hey, this is really cool. And then the more I got into the video game, the more I appreciated this. But if you're in the video game, if you really like the video game for the game and for how hard it is and the challenge and all of that, that doesn't really translate. The card game doesn't feel hard. Like, I mean, it's
Ever
brutal
not
and
won?
punishing, but it's a very different
I
experience.
think we've won every time we've played.
The lore of this game, what I love about the game is it's simplistic in nature, right? I choose a card, I've got 7 cards, and it's all about the hand manipulation and what's going on around the table. So, we've sat down, Skylar played this one night and was like, I don't even care about winning. I'm just going to kill everybody.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly social game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like aggressive and I don't know, antisocial, I guess, in its own way. But it's a very every time I've played, it gets very. There's a lot of table talk. There, you get these little grudges. You get kind of
Zach salty in the corner.
you get vindictive or salty or someone who just gives up on the game and just is trying to cause chaos. Every time I've played it, it's felt like a very social game. And I've played with you guys, and I've also played with some of my coworkers who are between beginner and not at all tabletop gamers, and it's been a hit with every single person I've played with. Everyone has.
It's grandiose in nature as far as Zach saying things are broken, right? Things can happen at a large scale. Like, so the longer the game goes, you're not going to be doing like one blood echo. It's going to be a lot more, and I'm going to be hurting my opponents, and hopefully
You see
I'm
cool
using my
combos
rune.
the more you go
Yeah.
on. Like, and everyone gets it. It's funny because as much as I say those things are broken, I remember in that game, even though Jared won, he was like not winning the first 2 rounds. He was doing actually quite poorly. So it's one of those where you're never really out. Like if you build up to something, I'm not saying anyone can win, because you can have poor luck or just buy things really dumb and play the wrong way.
That doesn't sound like luck, Zach.
That sounds like bad strategy.
As much as it sounds like I don't like the game, I actually really like it. It's awesome because I like the deck building aspects and being able to control your future. But there are luck aspects to it.
I would
where
say that
you got to play timing, or else you can mess up your.
Between the die rolls, if you do a random chalice with like a random chalice dungeon with the different bosses and monsters, and you randomize that between in the market and the die rolls, there's enough randomness in it that there is no like one single strategy that's going to win you any game.
Yeah.
But as you play, you'll develop strategies, and it'll work for a little while, and then maybe a card enters the game that someone else has that, like, say you're going for a strong, like mostly ranged in your hand, and you're trying to be a strong ranged player, and someone gets a card or two that hurts ranged weapons. It takes away their power. It makes them do nothing. The player who played them maybe gets hurt. You got to start thinking about changing your strategy if there's more than one of
And
those
sometimes you
cards
just
in
take risks,
circulation.
right? Like sometimes
Absolutely.
it's like, I know he's got that card, but I'm still going to do it, take the risk and do ranged. Sometimes it really pays off.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't. But that's how the video game or video games are.
You're
You gotta
playing,
take risks.
You'll be like, oh, I've got 2 health.
Yeah.
Don't want to play that.
What am
and
I
then the
gonna play?
monster rolls like 6 damage. And everybody does.
Oh yeah. When the monster gets like 4+ sides and everyone dies,
some
and you're
point,
like,
it
well, I
doesn't
guess
matter.
it didn't really matter.
It doesn't matter what you're planning because something's going to get disrupted and you'll probably die.
How
when
do you
don't
guys like
expect it.
the kind of the additive dice rolls when you roll those pluses? Because I'm pretty sure
It makes it random.
I love it.
I'm
It
pretty
depends
sure,
on how they roll.
It
I've
takes
killed
away
all
the
of us.
true strategies.
more
Of it.
than once. doing that.
It's interesting because this game it's what your opponents flip over and turn order, like who's first player, is so
Very
massive.
critical.
You
can
could
be,
play
for
the
sure.
best card, but then if they have an instant effect and they kill the monster before you can have a chance, or you get killed by the monster,
Then
it's
you've
so
just
pivotal.
wasted
That's
your
the big
best
part of
card.
timing.
It's
It's
just
like,
in your discard pile.
I'm
now.
going to be first in 3 turns. I got to plan and think, what am I going to play this turn so I can save that? So when I'm last, I need to play this one. Oh, it'll do instant. Even though I'm last, boom, I get something still.
Yeah, I remember
Things like that.
playing with some other guys, getting totally screwed over by a guy. I thought I had the game locked down. I was set to like finish it and win. The guy who was last in player turn order had a card that specifically did something if you are the last person in the turn order. And it was just like, well, cool. So that worked out great for him. It was an awesome play, but it just totally killed whatever it was that I was planning. I don't really remember.
So when we went to a local event, and a lot of people showed up. Didn't realize how many people really had found this game. We had a great play in that group that we played. I think there were 5 of us, 6 of us at the table, and we all died on the
It's a
final monster.
5-player game.
5-player.
Yeah.
So we all died twice on the final monster. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, so we've kind of talked about, obviously you guys can tell that we like this game. Is there anything about the game you don't like? Like, I can tell you what I don't like now, and this is strictly for Zach's copy of this game. It's not cool, man. Like, since we did go to those promo ones, I highly suggest you try to get the promo kits, because I'm sorry, Zach, but Russ and Ken's copies are so much cooler because half the cardboard has been upgraded to either minis or plastic.
There's game night kits that have that many. There's tokens
Hey, I
that
painted a
replace
mini
these
too.
that are 3D plastic tokens that you can put on your things, and there's also a playmat that's
It's really nice.
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
You can kind of bling this out, but you've got to do it by going to these events. And here, every one of them, I believe, has been like, I know at one of our game stores locally, they said buy a like $5 gift card for the store, then you're in the event and you can get all the prizes and stuff. So essentially they were saying come and spend money and you can have the goodies for free.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
But even just the core game, these components are pretty awesome.
The,
It's
the
really
cardboard's
nice.
like not cheap cardboard. It's, you know,
And the
solid.
price
These
point.
player boards, everyone gets
Where's
a player
that
board.
box?
These are good tokens. and
Show them
things
the
like
insert. The insert is so nice on some of them. There's two versions of the insert. Russ got the bad one, but
Well,
Zach here got the
Hey,
good
got something
one.
better than
So
Russ.
the price point for this game is really good. Game with expansion is, if you find it on sale, is like $35. I think MSRP combined is probably like in the $40 range. Totally worth it.
So I
Yeah.
mean, like, that's solid. I mean, if you think about a lot of the board games we've
Yeah.
reviewed so far, they're on the higher tier range, like higher than this. So this
Yeah.
is a great step.
I laugh about this game because I came across this game. My mom was wondering what to get me for Christmas. I said, "Oh, pick me up this game." I opened it at Christmas, totally forgot that
So
I had it.
if you look in this insert, there's a spot for you can
The
fit
expansion
all
as
of
well
the
fits in
cards
this, right?
with all of the expansions. So if you sleeve stuff like I do, you'll run out of room. Once you get all the plastic pieces, you run out of room. But the game as it sits on the table right now, aside from that plastic miniature, all of your small blood echoes fit here, your large ones fit here, your dice go here, your the trophy counter tokens go here, your life counters, your first player marker that's cardboard. All the regular size cards go down, then there's a little indent for the larger size cards, which are the
It's a good
final
insert.
bosses and the runes. It's a great insert. I was kind of blown away when I first
So
saw
I
it.
will say this: if you can get your hands on the game night kit box, it fits everything sleeved and all the extras. It's pretty sweet. It
Also-
just becomes a new box.
Yeah, and also I know Russ won't mention it, but if you see this first player token and you really like it, shoot us an email if you want to buy one, because I think Russ has a couple for sale right now, right? That
Yeah,
you
I've been
painted.
selling them on eBay. I've got a few left right now.
Yeah, so shoot us an email, the playthru at ktdata.net, and I'll forward it to Russ so you can get yourself a copy of one. Because
Anytime they have an event here locally, we try to go. So
we have a couple
more,
extras.
so.
I mean, between all the cool swag to add to the game and any excuse to play it, because I love this game. It's a great one. It's one of my favorites.
It is one that I don't want to pull out if somebody's not in the best mood.
I could see that.
That's probably my one downside is like you can get someone really salty pretty quick if they start to take things personal.
Yeah, on the other side of that, I'm fine with agitating
Yeah.
people, so whatever.
Yeah, I'm all cool.
Be
I'm
mad.
Like, if I was
I
in
don't
a
care.
bad mood, I want other people to be in a bad mood.
We learned the other time playing Evolution, another game we'll cover at some point, that Kevin likes to irritate and poke at people.
Sorry, Zach.
So
I'm the guy that everyone picks on. I don't know, and they don't know why I'm salty. I don't know.
the best thing about this, though, when you do pick on someone, you pick on everyone. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it's-
like
Yeah.
I'm gonna deal damage.
Unless it's
to
one of those, I
everybody.
know he has a lot of range, and I do
Yeah.
range hate, something like that.
Even
Otherwise,
then,
it's
I mean,
like deal
everyone-
damage to everyone.
Most of the time, unless you have one of the starting powers or one of the cards that really focuses what you're doing on either ranged or melee, you always end up with a little bit of everything peppered in.
Yeah.
So while you might, I mean, I guess you could be extra vindictive and be like, all right, Zach is really focused on range, so I'm going to get him. Russ and Kevin still might flip over a ranged weapon and just take
Yep.
the same abuse that turn. You can target to a certain degree, but it's a little bit harder to target unless there's a very specific situation that presents itself throughout the game.
I will say that if you like Eric Lang, you'll like this game, but it has that feel to it where it's. I think what makes Eric Lang so great is his games are pretty simplistic with lots of layers to them, right? So you get a lot of different interactions, a lot of combos, and I'll speak up because I know Jared would probably say this. Some of the stuff that he struggles with in this game is there's tons of little interactions that's just not covered in the rules because there's just an expansion and there's other card games.
Can you guys at
and
home
that's
see
just
the hearts that are just glowing? Like maybe I'll put it in post, but there's just hearts right now.
That's just kind of one of the things that Jared doesn't like about it. I think he's wrong. But
There's also, I mean, it's all true to the video game, but there's some kind of gruesome looking monsters that could be a turnoff.
I pulled out this with one group, and I was like, "Oh, this is a really fun game." Like 10 minutes into it, I was like, maybe
flesh
it's
peeled off this
probably
half tentacled monster that's also on fire. Well, it's a bit graphic.
But honestly, like when it comes to video games or really other, more famous themes, this is one of the better ones where they've actually they've done a good job with the theme, but it's actually a very fun game to play too. It's not just, hey, this is a really bad game, but if we put a cool name on the front, people will buy it.
They hit a really cool game. They hit a really cool balance where they stay true to the game without trying to translate the game directly to the tabletop, which from what I understand is, and I haven't played it myself, but from what I understand is kind of a flaw with the Dark Souls board game, where it seems like they were trying to make a board game that plays like Dark Souls, and
rather than just make it fun.
If you get online and you look at Reddit or whatever message boards, you look for that, it's caught a lot of heat. But one of the things that I kind of have seen, I don't know, kind of reading between the lines, is it seems like they tried to make the board game like the video game, and it came up short, and it's just close enough to be obvious that that's what they were trying to do, and just far enough to fail miserably at doing that. And there was a lot of things that turned people off with that whole game. But this game, Bloodborne, is awesome because it feels true to the video game without trying to be the video game.
So like it's more of a
it's
supplement,
absolutely
companion, right?
it's absolutely a different experience. It gives me a totally different feeling playing it. It's far more social and lighthearted, and I enjoy it. I think it's just kind of a fun, kind of chaotic game, and while it stays true to the source material, it definitely takes it in its own direction.
All right, so to kind of wrap things up, anybody
Let's not wrap things up. Let's just keep talking about this game.
So
it's really
first,
good.
you can see these guys talk
I will say first move, and it always catches people off guard when they're new. My first move all the time is Hunter's Dream is my first card.
If there's a
you
card
wanna
you want
increase
out
your
there,
stuff,
for sure.
Because there's 5 cards in your hand. You can have up to 7, and you get first pick of the cards. So you don't get the benefit of blood tokens. You don't get to do any damage right away, but you get to increase your hand with a new card right away.
Makes sense.
So as you guys see, everybody recommends it. Nobody's saying don't get it, right?
I've never played the video game, and I've really liked this game. I like the theme. I like the gameplay. So don't let that turn that off
every
if you've
time
never
we play
played the video
somebody
game.
beats you.
It's
Yep. All right. So we want to hear from you guys. If you guys have any questions about the board game, how to play, if Jared got something wrong or if you got something really right, who really knows, to be honest with you. I think he makes up words all the time. Or if you guys,
I think he rated the rule book, 7 out of 10?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
So-
7 out of 10. So that's actually pretty
not bad.
high-ish praise for him.
It's a fairly simple game, really. I mean, the rule book, it does its job.
You
It's all about
play
the
around and
interactions
you've got
with
it.
weird
There. It's not
things
one you
that
have to
brings
play
up
5 times to really understand.
And I really feel like if you've played a deck builder or like a hand management game, it's going to be like sliding into an old pair of shoes.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think of this game or your experiences with this game. Leave them in the comments below or just shoot us an email, theplaythru@ktdata.net. And make sure you guys check out theplaythru.net for our past episodes. We get out new episodes every 2 weeks. Hopefully you guys will enjoy them. Eventually we'll do a game that has bunnies and sunshine, right?
Yeah, I believe there's one that we would all like to do that has bunnies and sunshine.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much, and thank you all for watching at home, and we'll see you next time on the Playthru.